Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, Accelerating Oilfield Transformation with AI and Digital Tools, sponsored by Cognite. I'm Chris Smith with Oil and Gas Journal. To begin, let me explain how you can participate in today's presentation. First of all, if you have any technical difficulties during today's session, please put your question in the questions window and our technical experts will help you out. We recommend disabling any pop-up blocking software or extensions in your browser, as these can cause issues with the webinar player. Additionally, we welcome your questions during today's event. We will answer as many questions as possible during the Q&A session that will follow the main presentation, but please feel free to send in your questions at any time. To do so, simply type your questions into the Ask a Question window on the side of your screen and hit the Submit button. Also, please be aware that today's session is being recorded and will be available on the Oil and Gas Journal website within the next week. You'll be notified by email when the archive is available. Now, I'd like to introduce today's speakers. Prabhu Parthasarathy is Global VP Strategic Projects at Cognite. Prabhu helps combine domain expertise and digital technology to help clients across the upstream and midstream harness the power of data and AI to optimize operations, reduce emissions, and enhance safety. With more than 20 years of international experience in the oil and gas sector, Prabhu has acquired a deep understanding of the technical and business challenges facing Cognite's clients. Before joining Cognite, Prabhu was VP of Intelligent Operations at Wood Group, overseeing a global business line that provided advanced technology solutions to the process industry. Also joining us is Camilla Ortiz, Land Business Development Manager, Digital Production at SLB Americas. Camilla is an electrical engineer and business development manager for SLB, covering land-based operations in the Americas. In more than 17 years at SLB, she has held various roles, including product champion, wireless field engineer in Libya and the Netherlands, and quality engineer and maintenance manager offshore Louisiana. Camilla's leadership in digital product management has driven the development of award-winning digital products, including SLB's Performance Live digital service delivery centers. Prabhu and Camilla, over to you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for joining this webinar. Camilla, happy presenting this with you. When we talk about digital and AI, it's even more relevant today when we have tremendous pressure to transform operations with the volatile markets that exist today. The volatile markets obviously means that a lot of capital decisions that are typically made are going to be put on the back burner, depending on the risk appetite. And that means existing operations need to be driven far more efficiently, enhance the performance, ensure that the uptime is stronger so that you can get more value from existing operations. But beyond that, over the last 10 years, and I've been in the industry over 20 years, one of the things that we've noticed as a trend is that a lot of companies have paused hiring during the downturn of the mid-2010s. And really, the infusion of great talent in the industry has slowed down, which means there's a knowledge gap that exists in the market between the older generation and the younger generation, and there's some gaps in the generations as well. In addition to that, there's significant transformation on the technology side that's happening as well. So there's not only a gap in terms of the ability to drive knowledge from generation to generation, but also with the changing technology, everybody has to upgrade themselves to be able to leverage all the technology available and use it most efficiently. And beyond that, obviously, with that energy mix continuously changing, energy companies, oil and gas companies are even more required to ensure that they they operate safely, sustainably, and continuously improve their operations, reduce their carbon footprint and emissions. So all of this is obviously possible with the amount of data that we as an industry generate, leveraging that and putting that through digital technologies to transform operations. What we have noticed over the last decade is really digital has taken off. A lot of companies are deploying digital technologies at scale. And so it's imperative that every player that needs to compete in this market leverages the available digital technologies. And when we talk about that, we're talking about the data. How do I leverage data analytics and really make a difference to my operations? But the next generation of that is really the industrial AI wave. Over the last couple of years, we've seen big changes happening in the generative AI space. It is, if you stock market, you would have seen in the performance of your AI shares, if you will. And that's a huge space that's really transforming the industry. Everybody wants to make use of the AI wave and transform. Why? Because domain experts have the knowledge, but historically it's been not possible for them to transform that knowledge quickly into applications, into dashboards and whatnot, quickly to look at information. But now, with vibe coding and all sorts of AI tools available, it is very possible. You can also now stitch together applications and enable end-to-end autonomous workflows. And with agentic systems available, you can orchestrate them together to really make a huge change in your operations. But that being said, industrial AI is different to everyday AI that we use. When we talk about industrial AI, we're not just talking about generative AI, but we're also talking about machine learning, hybrid modeling technologies out there, AI agents, and how do you really bring these together in a unified way to transform your operations? And if you look at what are the addressable opportunities in the market, it's very similar to before. How do I improve my production assurance? How do I make my asset perform better? And how do I enhance my safety and sustainability of my operations? But to enable all of these pieces, you really want to be able to thread all of these different AI tools together and get value from that. And that is what we call industrial AI. Cognite as a data play in the market, an AI play in the market, has been around for about a decade now, and we've really gone and transformed how the market looks at data and how we enable our customers in leveraging the data to make a change to their operations. But one of the things that we identified is that to really be able to enable our customers, we needed a partner in the domain space. Likewise, everybody knows about SLB. They've been in the market for over 100 years, so I don't have to introduce SLB in this oil and gas market. SLB also saw that with the availability of technologies, which is democratizing essentially the tech stack, their focus on domain was going to be even more important to the industry. So really, they wanted to look at a partner that could bring the data and AI space and look at the changing technology and rapidly adapt, bring a player in that space together with their domain expertise to essentially maximize your operational efficiency, ensure safe and sustainable operations, and enhance productivity. And about 2 years back, both our companies got together to say, hey, we really have something unique in our own spaces to offer, but by combining it together, there's a bigger change we can make to the market, bigger value we can provide to our customers, and we joined in a partnership. And when you look at these partnerships, one of the key things to think about is not just the fact, not just a data play or a domain play, but also the end-to-end workflow. So when we talk about data, some customers may have, let's say, they may be digitally mature and the data rests on the cloud already, and they're not really thinking about how to connect the information together, but are simply looking at how do I connect the data together and get value from it. Some customers may be looking at deploying technologies in the field and being able to pull that information together and actually go end-to-end, develop a solution. So this partnership really provides that full stack solution going all the way from edge into cloud, and then from there into the domain space. But even when you think about deploying AI, the AI can be deployed on the cloud. In some critical areas, it may have to be deployed at the edge. And to be able to understand where to provide that technology and how to deploy it, this requires a lot of domain knowledge in the space. And this is really what our two companies bring together. And also the solutions need to span across the value chain. It doesn't have, a lot of times data is created at the planning stage of a project, be it in the drilling space when you're planning your drilling, or when you're planning your facilities. There's a lot of unstructured data that's generated. But that data then moves into operations, and you want to be able to leverage all of that data that's generated at planning stage and using that to get value across the operations and beyond that as well. And so we're able to provide that together. Well, we also tell our customers to get to this holy grail of autonomous operations, being able to leverage AI. You want to start in a stepped fashion, starting from, take a bite-sized approach, drive some operational insights initially with some contextualized data. Get your data together, really use that data and get value, maximize the value you can already get from the data that you have. And once you get that value, then start applying solutions, domain solutions on top of it to get even more value. And then you can leverage those solutions and drive value across your enterprise, across the asset, across multiple use cases. And that's what we call the scaling phase. And I'll explain that a little bit more in the next few slides. All right, so when we talk about contextualized data, that's kind of really the first step. When we talk about data rests in so many different places. If you think about an industrial operation, we're talking about real-time data that rests in your historian. You've got design data that rests in your documents, potentially. You've got maintenance data that rests in your maintenance systems. You've got your inventory data in your potentially ERP, SAP system. And so you want to be able to pull all this information together. And to do that, you need a system that already has pre-built extractors that can go in, pull all this information quickly, and then bring that data into the system. And once you have that data, the next thing is to say, okay, what does this data mean? So we need to then sort this data out between different time series data, different events data, unstructured data, sort them out, and then connect them together. This is where the secret sauce of Cognite Data Fusion comes into play, where we are really making the data meaningful by creating a knowledge graph. And by that, what we mean is, let's take a pump. A pump is going to have some design curves, and then you're going to have some operational data, upstream, downstream, temperatures, pressures. You're going to have the pump on a PNID telling you where the pump is on the system. And to be able to and each one has a different naming convention. So for somebody to be able to understand the pump that's on the PNID is the same pump that's generating this operational data, and that's got this maintenance history, to be able to connect all that together is really the core foundation of Cognite Data Fusion. Once we have that data contextualized and make it more meaningful, now you can really get value from the data that you've already generated. Beyond just applying any kind of process twin and digital twin modeling capabilities, you can simply get value from the insights from the data that you already generated that can transform your operations. You can now query the information with AI to be able to search the data quickly. And that we find significantly adds value, because data is now available at your fingertips, and you're not searching it in 10 different locations, 10 different silos to understand what's happening with your facility. That data is readily available at your fingertips. Once you have that data, then we can apply domain technologies. And by that, we mean the knowledge of the system. So if you look at on a production facility, we can think about what kind of information can I gather from what's happening inside the pipe, inside the process, and understanding how your performance is. And also you can look at what impact does that have on the mechanical integrity, on the reliability of the asset, all of this information. So in this space, and Camilla will talk more about it, SLB has developed two sets of solutions: OptiFlow on the left, which really looks at wells and pipeline networks at the upstream facility side, and then OptiSite that focuses on what's happening at the facility and beyond in terms of process performance, in terms of pipeline integrity, asset reliability. And Camilla will come and talk about it a bit more in detail. And once you have this foundation laid and domain solutions, now you can look at how do I scale this either in a particular asset, be it an offshore asset or an onshore well network or a pipeline network. And you can look at either applying it across, say, thousands of wells, the same workflow, or you can look at applying this across multiple assets. So we call it a vertical scaling or horizontal scaling. So once you have the data foundation in play and you have applied the domain technologies, now you can look at scaling this and essentially deriving more value from the investments you made. With that, I turn it over to Camilla to talk about the domain solutions.
Thank you, Prabhu. And as you've been discussing, we went through a very structured way on how to continue building really scalable AI solutions. So today I'm just going to go in more detail about what SLB's AI-enabled solutions are and how they're bringing value and bringing operational insights and efficiencies to our operations. So we know that a lot of companies have already invested in solutions to address some of the challenges that they have in their operations. That's why we want to emphasize that we don't want you to start a migration project from your existing solution. Rather, we want you to integrate your solutions that are working for you and really focus on the workflows that really matter. And the way that we do this is by having this configurable and modular framework that would allow you to do just exactly that, integrate. Our approach is really to have a unified solutions environment that integrates information from your reservoirs and wells to facilities and pipelines, and where you really can combine the flow and your process performance all in one place. This includes, as Prabhu was explaining earlier, OptiFlow for production assurance and OptiSite for asset performance of facilities, equipment, and pipelines. And this seamless integration really ensures that you can get the best of both worlds where you really can get your physics models and AI all infused or in one place. And you can really drive predictive insights, really bring your solutions from real time to ahead of time. So we bring a really comprehensive and extensive offering across the complete value chain, from wellbore to surface equipment to gathering systems, processing midstream, transmission and storage. And each stage is vital to ensure the efficient production and the transportation of the resources. This integrated approach is not only enhances the operational efficiency, but it really brings us closer to the commitment, as Prabhu was mentioned earlier, on intelligent and autonomous operations, which where we ultimately want to be. By connecting each of these stages of the value chain, we ensure that we can meet the demands of the market, where we can optimize every aspect of your production and transportation. This is the way that you can really effectively reduce downtime and maximize your throughput. So we bring this unified solution environment that I was mentioning earlier that to really allow us to scale AI. And the way that we realize this integration, these solutions are by integrating platforms that leverage both cloud and edge technologies, so that we have a really powerful ecosystems where we can deploy different solutions. Our environment is open and really enables us to solve any problems that can maximize the return of your investment. And something that's very important for the technological landscape that we live today, these solutions are configurable, they're scalable, and they're completely secure. So at the heart, if you see in the middle, at the heart of our strategy, we have our Lumi data and AI platform, which is powered by Cognite, and is really the central component that enables advanced data processing and analytics, so that we can have those insights to really have informed decision making and innovation. And then complementing this, we have the Agora Edge AI and IoT solutions that really enhance those operations at the edge, where the operations are happening, when we can have the real immediate responses and actions. We also have solutions around robotics, where we can really automate those mundane tasks in your facilities, so that you can shift the focus of your workforce to do more meaningful, more strategic and value-added activities. And then we have our Delphi digital platform, which is really a big cornerstone of our ecosystem, where we can bring all these different workflows so that we can ensure those efficient operations. So within Delphi, we have OptiFlow, focused on production assurance, and the idea here is to ensure that the operations are running optimally and without any interruption. And then we have OptiSite, which further enhances by ensuring the performance of their facilities and equipment and maintaining the highest standards of operational excellence. This integration and this platform is really a very robust infrastructure so that we can continue deploying AI that solve industry problems. But as I mentioned at the beginning, to deliver on the promise to really integrate information, we heavily rely on our contextualization layer powered by Cognite. This foundation allows us to unlock value and bring these evergreen data-driven models, physics and AI, physics informed AI into one environment. That allows us to enable and accelerate solutions. For example, with OptiFlow, we are able to bring in well and network twins so that we can enable those end-to-end production assurance workflows that are completely modular, that can be implemented as necessary. As you can see listed here, we have flow assurance modeling workflows to optimize wells and networks. We have production analytics that enhance awareness, where you can see measurements and the results of your simulations. We have production insights that are automating and evaluating different alarms and triggers and optimizing operation. We have the production advisors that are really helping you to pinpoint where you have the opportunities for improvement, and this enhances the utilization of your simulations and your machine learning models. We also have production agents that can automate your tasks, and it really gives you those actionable decisions. But if you have other solutions or internal workflows that are defined, we can help you build your own workflows, and that is supported by our innovation factory, which allows us to very quickly deploy workflows in this ecosystem. But within the same infrastructure, we have OptiSite, which brings the equipment and the process twins. And with those, we can optimize process, ensure uptime, prevent failures, enhance productivity, again, completely modular. We can use those digital twins to reduce OpEx and enhance reliability. We can bring in predictive models to ensure uptime with anomaly detection and monitoring. We can have AI or ML models that can prevent pipeline leaks or failures. And we can have AI that really help us optimize the maintenance planning and execution, or even those digital inspections using our robots. So that was an overview of our solutions. And now I want to go over some of the examples on how these solutions have significantly increased production and have brought really substantial savings and reduced the environmental impact of the operations. All right, so what you see here on the screen, we have some of our success stories, starting with the US operating company that implemented the Lumi data and AI platform powered by Cognite, and they integrated data from their wells and facilities. That helped them break the silos, and the effect is that now you can have those domain experts able to collaborate in that unified environment, looking at the same data all together. This is the first phase that laid really a foundational framework so that they can increase or add their performance and production workflows in OptiSite. Their challenges that they've been addressing have been unplanned shutdowns and while they're managing their safety priorities. And their ultimate goal being to bring the autonomous fields of the future. The second example, we have Sierra Col Energy in Colombia. This is a company that really embarked in a digital transformation journey. The first step was to bring all their OT, their operational technology, to enable those autonomous workflows, but then realized that they had to streamline the data. They needed to evolve their data analytics strategy to the next level of efficiency. So when they realized the scalable approach, they brought workflows that were focused on enhanced production surveillance, automated identification of injection losses and root cause analysis, and workflows to reduce energy consumption. The third one here is a Latin American national oil company that is embarked in a multi-year digital transformation program. They are onboarding over 100 assets across now upstream, midstream, and downstream operations. And by implementing this unified data hub, they are integrating and contextualizing all their industrial data. And they've really made it accessible at the enterprise level. Now they're being empowered to continue doing their data analytics and AI solutions to enhance their productivity in their gas plants and their refineries. So here we have other examples as well. So we have Aker BP. This is a little bit different than the previous ones, where they focus on specific workflows. They've implemented optimization scenarios where they're using process twins and physics-informed AI models to really enable early identification of potential slugging or optimization of gas lift rates. And having those models and both physics and physics-informed AI enable them to build these what-if scenarios. Those what-if scenarios facilitated really the fast and autonomous decision-making so that they could do proactive management of their production operations. So we have as well in the middle a unit of Vedanta Group. And they're actually improving their production level by leveraging data-driven production and reservoir management. They have developed an intelligent system of production operations. Their systems uses AI insights and advanced analytics to optimize surface production. And what they've achieved so far is to automate their identification of production enhancement opportunities across the assets, provide real-time recommendations to address surface network issues and debottlenecking opportunities. And then they enable optimization and automation to improve their enhanced oil recovery operation. And really, this has been a step change in the reservoir flood management performance. And lastly, there is a major Asian national company that has implemented digital twins to enable really with the future-ready architecture. They enhance the data quality and access for their analytics workbench, driven by contextualized information. What have they achieved? They improve their asset management and performance. They enhance safety and risk management, and they've had significant cost reduction and increased efficiency. And they really are laying the groundwork to set the future for future requirements including GHG, CCS, and HSE, so that they really can have full enhanced production and operational efficiency. So these success stories, I hope they help you understand how our solutions are really driving operational excellence, sustainability, and significantly saving costs across not only the industry, but different type of companies that we've worked with. Pass it back to you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Camilla. I'm just going to spend a few minutes bringing it all together. So one of the things that you have noticed, when Camilla talked about the different companies, is that they're each at various levels of digital maturity. Their ambitions are different as well, and the solutions they're trying to chase, domain solutions, are different. And so one of the key things that we've noticed across customers, what makes it successful when they want to embark on this digital journey and to the North Star of autonomous operations really is, first start with bringing your data together and putting a data foundation. And just getting the data foundation together to get simple access to complex data is going to get tremendous value for you, because now you can search the data quickly, get it at your fingertips. You can have natural language queries that answer complex queries that otherwise would need a computer science person to build that query out. But not just that, we also have pre-packaged domain solutions that have been built out to prove quick value for you. And we're talking about weeks to prove value, and essentially drive operational insights from the data that you already created. It could be as simple as combining your events with your operations data, your real-time data, and then getting value from that. It could be lots of different solutions, but really getting that data foundation and putting the prepackaged domain solutions and getting quick value, get lots of different stakeholders in your company engaged in the value that you're generating and the solution that's being built. Once that's done, then we get onto the journey of now deploying hundreds of solutions. And for that, you may use OptiSite or OptiFlow. That's SLB's built a bunch of configurable solutions that you can leverage. But beyond that, we all understand that you have built your own solutions, your own dashboards, and you want to build your own internal process twin maybe that you built that you want to leverage. But being able to onboard all of those solutions into a single pane of glass to make it easy for the users to go through that process of adopting a new solution is super important as well. Again, I go back to some of the use cases that Camilla talked about. One of the large customers in LATAM is really, they built lots of different applications over the years. And what they're trying to now do is, really scale this across assets. And to do that, they're bringing all the data together and then using their own solutions on top of the data foundation. So like I said, each customer is different, but we've seen this common thread that, put your data foundation and onboard the solutions and scale it across your assets, infusing AI along the way in all of these solutions, because AI is a common thread today. You can apply it for the simplest of solutions where you're looking at searching of data, but you can also apply complex physics-infused AI type solution into the solutions. But then you want to really thread all of that information, all of that AI agent, and orchestrate all these AI agents together to get the end-to-end autonomous operations. And if you work in a manner that allows you step in value, then we see that the projects are much more successful. This slide essentially reinforces this, but the key thing I want to showcase here is the journey of one of our customers who started with essentially the unification of the data and the data foundation problem first, and got value very, very quickly in a manner of weeks, really. And then, once they had, about 8 to 12 weeks to deploy the solution over 4 different assets or 4 different units in an asset, and then over the next 6 months, they were able to now, by the 6th month, they were able to deploy this across 8 units. And then by 9 months, they were able to onboard 10 use cases at 29 sites, and then over 18 months, 40 use cases across 50 sites. So again, going from starting quickly, getting value, and then deploying your solutions and scaling that is going to get you the highest bang for buck. And what we see is AI it really enables you to accelerate AI-infused solutions throughout the entire program. Is going to get you a lot of ROI on the investments you're making. And what you want to really be able to do at the end is to be able to stitch this all together and have this autonomous operations up and running. So with that, I'll stop and see if Camilla, do you want to add any more comments, and then open it up for questions maybe.
I probably just really highlight that we are definitely stronger together. That there's been a great journey to where we bring our strengths, and we build and we have solutions that apply, as you mentioned, to very different players. So we're all ready for any questions that you may have.
Okay, great. Thank you both very much. Nice presentation. And we do have questions. So we're going to jump right into those. But for the audience, if you'd still like to submit a question, you can type it into the question window on the side of your screen and hit the submit button. And with that, let's see what we should start with. All right, here we go. How do you make AI solutions configurable? Can you give examples, please?
Sure. I mean, again, and Camilla, you can please feel free to add your flavor to this as well, because I think when we talk about AI, there's different types of AI solutions. When we look at agentic AI frameworks and generative AI based solutions, what we're really talking about is having an agentic framework that allows you to build your own AI solutions. So we have built an agentic AI framework called Atlas AI that really allows you to, through everyday natural language modeling, be able to build AI agents. We have built a lot of pre-built agents as well. We see as common agents a lot of our customers are using already. So in terms of being able to query time series data and look at, let's say, averages and things like that from time series data, query documents and build out operating procedures or extract operating procedures out of documents, being able to analyze work orders. And these are typically AI agents that we've pre-built. And the reason we pre-built it is because we see that these are common use cases customers are using it for. But beyond that, we provide a framework for you to build your own agents. Once the data is in the system and it's contextualized, then you should be able to build your own AI agents as well and orchestrate these agents. And that's what we mean by configurable AI. Camilla, maybe you want to talk about the physics-infused AI, which is part of the AI mix.
Exactly. So really what we talk about configuring is either different types of AI, as Prabhu answered, or the configurability of your workflows using different types of AI tools. So you can have a machine learning workflow that will support a physics model. And now what Prabhu was alluding to is we also now use what we call physics-informed AI, which is really utilizing physics to model a system that can run much faster and really allow you to do autonomous workflows with in real time. So I hope that clarifies or explains a little bit more of what we talk about configurable, both in the AI world and how we configure those workflows itself that you use.
Thank you. Another listener asks, is the oil and gas industry gathering and storing and generating data at the edge at local sites?
I would say that has been the historical way, was always to generate the data and store it locally. And over the last 10, 15 years has been the cloud migration of the information. And so we see that more and more. Again, it depends on the type of use case that you want to address. When you have fast loop, fast decision making, safety decision making, you want to make it at the edge. And then when you look at optimizing and squeezing more out of the information, you want to really be able to leverage the power of the cloud. I mean, for example, I can talk about, when you think about a simple problem, like it's not a simple problem, but gas lift optimization, gas lift optimization at a well is going to give you a different optimal solution to gas lift optimization at a network. So you could do edge gas lift optimization at well, which optimizes the performance of that well, but may not actually optimize the performance of the entire network. Now you want to be able to pull information across the entire network onto your system at the cloud level, and then do the optimization and pull that, send that instruction back. So it really depends. The flavor depends on the problem you're trying to solve. Camilla?
Yeah. And if I will add, you explained the good examples, Prabhu, but especially in oil and gas and having our remote locations, we do actually leverage edge technologies quite a bit, and as Prabhu explained, on automated workflows that really run right there at the edge, or where we're talking about optimizing things that could, with simple workflows that could be just at the well level or sometimes at the pad level. Those things can be done very easily without having to worry about being in a place where you might have some disruptions of your connectivity. But yes, oil and gas has been using edge and collecting data at the edge for forever.
Okay, yeah, indeed. All right, here's a question that's set up as an agree or disagree format. So the statement is, we lack the availability of data in most oil fields worldwide. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree.
Look, I mean, there's been tremendous amount of information that's been generated at oil fields for many years. If you look at the history of control systems, they've been around for a long time, and the use of them in offshore or even onshore oil fields has been there for at least 30, 40 years. So, there's a lot of real-time data that's generated, but beyond that, you've got design data. When we talk about data, we're talking about design data, we're talking about P&IDs. All this information is there. The question is it available for you is been the problem. So I think I would change that question. The data is there, but is it available? Probably not. And that's the problem we've been solving for the last decade plus.
Yeah, I
Camilla?
will add. I mean, yeah, exactly. It's available, but probably not visible to the right person at the right time, right? I mean, you have to dig into the data. In some cases, you'll have either different storage systems or places where you're gonna have to dig for it. So, what probably was like the problem today is very easily be able to find the right information at the right time, and making sure that you found the right informations, because if you're going to derive any decisions, you want to make sure that you really got the proper information. So that will be where there is an opportunity of improvement, and what we do with Cognite.
And maybe I can use that to address another question that's been asked about building of relationship and data. What do you use it for? That is the core foundation of Cognite Data Fusion. We talk about building relationship of data. I try to give the example of people. I think people are using Microsoft Systems. You're using Teams, and one of the things you can do in Teams is go and look at your organizational structure, who's been working on what documents in your organization, as long as it's made available for you to see, and lots of different, their calendars and things like that. But when you think about it, what Microsoft is doing on the back end is building a graph of your organization. We are talking about doing the same thing with operational data. The example I gave with regards to pumps and P&IDs, you think about it, in a P&ID, a pump is named something, which is not the same as what it's named in the real-time system, your PI database maybe. And then you've got a maintenance system in which you have a different name. And humans usually contextualize this information. Let's think about, let's say there's a pump failure of some sort. The first thing you do when you do RCA, you're going to say, okay, where is this pump in the system? You look up your P&ID, and then you say, okay, let me look up this pump's performance over the last few months. When was it last maintained? I got to go look it up in my CMMS system. And then, okay, now I got to make a change. Okay, while I work on this problem, I got to maybe put a spare in there. So where is the spare available? You got to go look up your inventory system for that. but a human is usually doing this contextualization. What we do is by building this graph, this data connectivity, that we are making that available, where you can go as a process engineer, you could go into a PNID, click a button on the PNID, and then immediately brings up all of this information in your hand. Like Camilla said, make it available to the right person at the right time very quickly, and then you can go and do your RCA rapidly. We've seen customers save 70-80% of the time on an RCA when we make the data available to them. So that's what it's used for.
So maximizing accessibility, not just availability.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. All right, we have someone here. I worked with a Native American tribe. We own 1.5 million acres of minerals in Oklahoma. Currently, we have mainly marginal wells. Our thought was to use the historic data, and we have a lot of it, but and use AI to determine if the best decision was made. Is AI a solution here?
Depends on the problem you're trying to solve. I mean, there is obviously historical information can give you insights into what you want to do. I'm not sure if the question is, was the best decision made? That's more looking at historical data to understand if that was the best decision, but you can also learn from that to make better decisions in the future. So you can use AI to derive value from historical decisions, but also understand your current operating conditions better to make a better decision for the future or your current operation as well.
Okay. Can you give an example of AI used in the upstream? Is it included, for example, in choosing the chemicals, the most efficient drilling mud, calculating quantities? Maybe it can be used in later phases in cement calculations as well. Can you summarize how these important calculations and choice of oil field chemicals can be linked with AI?
Yeah, so
So
actually for chemical optimization, sorry, Prabhu,
go for it.
we've used AI for multiple applications. So we can help ensure to do the right diagnostic to ensure your proper chemical program, for example. So those as an example of using AI for this type of solutions. Again, linking you may have a physics model that allows you to understand, or it really gives you the overall view, but then you can use machine learning to feed this information from your physics model and make decisions more specific to your day-to-day operation. So the answer is yes, we've done we used AI for these models, and they can be configured to your, as we mentioned earlier, to your workflow, or what is it that you're looking to optimize. So again, if it's the addressing the right diagnostics of the issue and improving your chemical program, or how you're gonna plan your operations in a longer term.
Yeah, just to add to that, Camilla's point, it's about given my current production and given my current chemical program, how do I extract the maximum value out of that? So there's that one type of chemical optimization, but the other could be you have a changing production profile. You've got maybe more water coming out, or you got more scaling happening, and you've got to now really change the chemical cocktail that you're putting into the system. And you may have done a lot of historical lab testing of your fluid, of your water, of the chemicals, and understanding the chemical compatibility that exists within your framework. And then all of this data rests in different areas. It could be in LIMS, it could be in some reports that have been written, but being able to actually collate all this information and to create an end-to-end workflow that allows you to optimize that chemical cocktail mix. So we're not even talking about rate optimization here, but we're actually talking about the selection even. This is a space where generative AI can be hugely useful, because a lot of this unstructured data rests in your documents and LIMS system. It's actually combining all this information together.
Okay. Could you please elaborate on how you integrate physics-based calculated data and models into your solutions. Are other third-party physics-based modeling tools, do they have a place in your solutions apart from
I'll let
SLB's native modeling? Or yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I'll let Camilla answer the first part. Actually, one of the things I think we forgot to mention is that one of the key differentiations here is that it is an open system, right? What we've leveraged, one of the reasons why we partnered together was SLB historically kind of been, bleed blue, sell all the full tech stack, but they also recognize in the market customers have made existing investments into different tools. And that change management is super hard when you want to completely rip off the entire tech stack that you've invested in and change everything. So one of the key things we talk, from a Cognite Data Fusion perspective is our ability to connect to various systems. So be it your source data systems, but also the ability to connect to third-party simulators and whatnot. So we absolutely, that openness is one of the reasons why we work together, because SLB understands, and maybe I'll let Camilla talk about that, but really be able to integrate the domain knowledge with existing solutions and create end-to-end workflows is one of the key differentiators here. With that, I think there's other parts of the solution which I think she can answer better than me.
Yeah, no, thanks, Prabhu. So, no, absolutely. We, as I mentioned at the very beginning when I was explaining that we know that everyone has already solutions that are being implemented, like different model or tools or simulations. So we can integrate either our simulators or others in different ways. We want to bring that information and integrate it with real-time data so that you can really do, for example, we talked about early those what if scenarios, really look at your real-time optimization. But we can bring either the data that is simulated from other tools that are not SLBs, or we can also use other models. That's what I was mentioning earlier, what we call physics-informed AI, where we use those existing models and we train it using the simulated data, so that we build now this surrogate model that actually can run much faster. You could port that AI model into different infrastructure, either on the overall solution down to an edge solution running on site. So yes, we're open and we want to be as agnostic. We bring in any information into the same place. We want to integrate whatever you have and it works for you.
Right. How do you do data cleaning since so much unstructured data is generated? It can take a long time.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
great question. And again, this is the foundational problem that we set out to solve as a company. And one of the ways we've done, there's different ways of doing this. You can learn from, you can use unstructured data. You can use our tools. We have built machine learning tools that allows us to kind of learn from SMEs what they do when you integrate that information, and repeat that over many documents and whatnot, so you can kind of repetitively do what's being learned. But also with the availability of Gen AI today, the context is available. So we provide the context, and when you think about RAG is available, that context helps the RAG system, creates the RAG that makes the AI make better decisions as well. So yes, it's a hard problem, but it's not as hard as you think it is. And we have built a lot of systems within our core kind of data extraction tool that allows us, or data integration tool that allows us to make sense of that information.
All right. Well, let's take things all the way back to the beginning of this process. And somebody's wondering who typically needs to be involved to get started with the project. Who needs to be there to get things off the ground?
Yeah, depends on how, as a customer, you are set up. What we find typically is that, obviously the value is generated for an asset or a specific part of an asset. So that's where the business value is created. So certainly the operational folks at that need to be involved. But beyond that, for scaling solutions, you need executive support. You need to prove out the value, so which we support with value engineering, working with the customers to show what is the scale of, what is the value of scaling the solution. So the executives will need to be involved when you're looking at scaling the solutions. But in most cases, you need your IT departments involved, because cloud solutions, SaaS solutions require IT policies to be followed, ensure that we can work with them to make it, get their tick in the box as well. Most companies will probably have some digital champions that want to stay involved, so they can take the learnings from, say, a single asset, single solution, and be able to use that in other places as well. So that gives you a typical mix of personnel and customers that we work with.
Yeah, and I would say like from our side, who we want to involve, like from SLB, so all the people that Prabhu explained earlier from the customer side, but from us, we definitely want bring in solution architects, and we have also technical consultants and subject matter experts that we bring in to make sure that we are addressing the proper solutions, the proper challenges, and the right architecture streamline for your solutions.
Great. All right. I think we got time for one more before we wrap things up. And we'll go with the OptiSite and OptiFlow solutions are described as modular. Are these deployed in parallel or one after the other? And does the 8 to 12 week timeline still hold?
That's a great question. So it really it depends on your specific project, but you don't the solutions don't have to be parallel or sequential. It all depends on what we're trying to achieve. But really, you can define it within a very short period of time. Prabhu mentioned very early that we want to bring value early, so we do stay between 8 to 12 weeks generally, and it generally holds. And additional, we have other formats to come even faster, that what we call quick starts, and really trying to bring very early wins, so that you really understand where the value is coming from. So absolutely, the solutions are, that's why they're modular. We want to pick the right workflows depending if they depend on each other. They might go sequential, or if they don't depend on each other, they can go on parallel. But important here, what is very important here is that we want to bring value very fast.
Excellent. Well, I'm afraid we've run out of time. Prabhu, Camilla, thank you both so much for being with us today. For those questions we didn't have time to answer, we'll be getting back to you via email. And that concludes today's presentation. On behalf of Oil and Gas Journal, I'd like to thank Cognite for sponsoring today's event, and of course, all of you for joining us. And have a great rest of your day.